Some time ago, if it was young people who say everybody in this country is of equal worth, everybody has something to contribute, no matter your race, no matter where you come from, and everybody has the right to succeed.
Congressman Johnson, what do you think of having some 25-year-olds mixing it up with you there in Congress? Some people listening to Jay-Z and Kanye West in the Capitol, listening to some Drake. What do you think about that?
I tell you, I'm 60 and I listen to Drake. And
started from the bottom, now we're
here. No, in America, our Constitution states that you must be 25 or over in order to be qualified to become a congressman.
So how do you go about doing that? Does each country need to sort of have its own branding message, if you will? Its own PR campaign to distinguish itself from other countries?
Well, each country already brands itself on its own. But when you've got major powers and leaders, when they're coming in to address countries, they need to understand that they're speaking to a specific country. They're not speaking to the continent as a whole, lumped together, that's got all these problems. Let's take, for instance, issues of elections are constantly a focal point in Africa. We've just had Nigeria, which had a successful transition of power. Now, it's impossible for you, I mean, there's some issues in Burundi now, it's impossible for you to say that these two countries are exactly the same. They've got different issues and they've got different politics. In the same way in which South Africa and Zimbabwe have got different issues and different politics. So it's incumbent on leaders to be respectful in that way, in the same way that we would be respectful when addressing the United States and the North American continent. I think in America, something that I've noticed that sometimes people also don't travel outside of the country very often, and I think that something such as this, the YALI program, for us coming here and for hopefully them in the future being able to go over, will be very, very important, so that when you speak to somebody, they say that, they don't say, have you been to the African continent? And they say, I want to go there, but where do you want to go? I don't know, I just want to go to Africa.
Yeah.
You say, no, I want to go to this particular country. I want to go to Togo. That's where I want to go.
Do you see your role as a representative here of South Africa? Do you see you as sort of a liaison for people who may have never traveled to South Africa specifically or to the continent at large at all?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's because the interactions that I have with people, that's what they take away and say, this is from South Africa. Of course, I'll be subjective, I'll have my views on issues, and I'll be blunt and honest about them. But ultimately, when people interact with me, and that's the first person they've seen from South Africa, that's the image they have. That's the make or break point where somebody says, I want to go and visit there, and I want to go visit you. I want to see this country that you're talking about. That sounds beautiful. That when I take out my smartphone and I show you the pictures of it, it's like, wow, you know? So, and everybody here in this room.
$1 billion in new commitments from banks and philanthropists to support emerging entrepreneurs around the world, including in Africa, with half the money going to support women and young people. And last year I welcomed our first class of Mandela Fellows. This year the response was overwhelming again, nearly 30,000 applied. And today I'm honored to welcome you the second Mandela Washington Fellows class. We're on track to double the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program to 1,000 fellows by next year. And I know you've been busy. Over the past few weeks at schools and businesses all across America, you've been taking courses, your ideas a reality, so that you're able to continue the great work that you're already doing, but take it to the next level. That's what Brian Wembia of Zambia plans to do. Where's Brian? Where is he? Brian uses music to advocate against things like gender-based violence and to educate youth on HIV/AIDS. So, while in the U.S., he's learned about our healthcare system, met the founder of an American HIV/AIDS organization, and now he plans to start a record label for music about social change. So, Brian, we're proud to be your partner. Or we've got Khadija Diallo, there she is. So Khadija helped lead UNICEF's media campaign to stop the spread of Ebola. And with the management skills that she gained at Wagner College, she wants to work on improving the lives of women and girls back home in Guinea. So we are proud to be your partner. Or we've got Jamila Nyanja of Uganda. Instant ignorance. And they need to stop. And the idea that you'd have, that a society would visit violence on people because of pigmentation, that's not a tradition that is worth preserving. That's tomfoolery. That's craziness. It's cruel. The same is true with practices like genital mutilation. That just has to stop. You don't do violence to young girls just because your great-grandfather, or because there's no reason for it other than to suppress women. That's the rationale of it. That's what it's based on. Bride abduction, bad tradition. End it. Beating women, not a good tradition. I don't care that used to be how things were done. Societies evolve based on new understandings and new science and new appreciation of who we are. And so we can preserve great traditions. Music, food, dance, language, art. But if there's a tradition anywhere in Africa or here in the United States or anywhere in the world that involves treating people differently because you're scared of them, or because you're ignorant about them, or because you want to feel superior to them, it's a bad tradition. And you have to challenge it. And you can't accept excuses for it. You know, Grace was up here. You heard the power of Grace's talking. Now, traditionally, people with disabilities are treated differently because people are ignorant. And when, here in the United States, we passed the American Against Disabilities Act, and that opened up more opportunities, and suddenly there are ramps so people can access it, and there are computers and new technologies so that people who maybe couldn't communicate before can communicate. And it turns out there's all this talent and brilliance, and people can do these things. Well, then people's attitudes have to change, and the societies have to change. And that's why young people are so important in changing attitudes. The same, by the way, is true for sexual orientation. I spoke about this I spoke about this in Africa, and you know, everybody's like, oh, we don't want to hear that. But you know, the truth of the matter is that if you're treating people differently just because of who they love and who they are, then there's a connection between that mindset and the mindset that led to racism, and the mindset that leads to ethnic conflict. It means that you're not able to see somebody else as a human being. And so you can't, on the one hand, complain when somebody else does that to you, and then you're doing it to somebody else. You can't do it. There's got to be some consistency to how you think about these issues. And that's going to be up to young people, because old people get stuck in their ways. They do. They do. You know, and that's true here in the United States. The truth of the matter is that
yes, it gon' happen, no. It's the world filled with darkness everywhere, but I see the light. Not from the north, the south, the east, or the west, but from within you. Bring it out, let it shine. Bring it out, let it work. I see a great you, I see a great me, I see a great us. I see a great continent. I see great nations. I see people whose existence cannot afford to be ignored. Not by any nation of the world, not by any race or tribe. I see great Africans as we emerge. Yes, we can, sure we can, change the world. Yes, we can, sure we can, change Africa. It go happen, no. Yes, it go happen, no. Let the philosophers get ready to learn the wisdom of Africa. Let the spectators view the endless glory of our countries. Let the theologians see what will befall our nations, the golden nation of a new millennium. Whoa, I see the stars coming down from the sky. I hear a sound of a mighty rain coming. I see great leaders emerge like soldiers. Our flag will find the world.